Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So we are just waiting for the employers to get themselves situated so they can come on and answer all of your questions. So I want to start by introducing myself. My name is Rebecca Summerfield, and I am honored to be one of the Career Growth Services consultants here at Fanshawe College. I've been doing this sort of stuff for quite a while, and I'm sure you've been enjoying the rest of the activities that have gone on the last day or two. And I really, really hope that you found a lot of value out of all of that and that you're now super excited to start your journey with us because we are here for you. And I'm sure you hear that message a lot, but trust me, we definitely are here to help all of you. We want you to succeed. We know it's in a really weird time right now, so we thought by bringing some employers on, they will be able to talk to you about the new realities, but they're also going to be able to tell you what to keep in mind while through your journey for your schoolwork here at Fanshawe College. We want to make sure that you are ready to go by the time you get out there to start your big bad career, which is why we're all here together. We are going to ask questions. So I always keep the chat box open. You are free to ask questions, but we do ask to keep more of general questions as opposed to a specific question for your specific situation, only because we only have so much time for everybody to go around, and we only have so many questions that we can ask. But I do keep track of all the questions that were asked. If you have a specific question that you want to know about your type of situation, your question, you can always reach out to us in Career Services. We are more than happy to pick up the ball and make sure that you get connected to the right person.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again, too. Thank you for joining us, Sudha.
Not a problem. Anything related to Fanshawe, you know I'm in.
I do know you're in. It's fantastic. I love having you on board. I know that you are definitely one of our supportive employers, and we're always happy to have
Always,
you on board with us.
always. A big supporter.
For sure. So how are things going in business in your world these days?
Work has been super busy. Again, I shouldn't say thanks to COVID, but because of all of this lockdown and pandemic, our business, if I could say, tripled over
Wow.
the last 1 year. And that's how we had to recruit 6 supervisors from your college. Great
So
quality, amazing quality.
So why don't you, since we do have a few minutes, why don't you take an opportunity to tell the students who you are, what your company does, and some of the exciting things that is happening in your world these days?
Absolutely. Okay, so my name is Sudha, and I've been working with Precision Home and Office Deliveries, a division of ASL Distribution Services, which is based out of Oakville. We are a transportation, supply chain, and logistics company. We have a total of 10 locations across Canada. We operate in 3 different provinces, Manitoba, Quebec, and obviously Ontario being our biggest location. Sorry, I didn't have my tea this morning.
Yeah.
And then our industry we have a lot of customers. When I say customers, it's companies such as Staples, Amazon, Grand & Toy, Walmart. They give us business, and we recruit for the warehouse positions, the driver positions, the entire loop of supply chain. We handle their supply chain. We are one of the companies which which provide these services for e-commerce business, and e-commerce has bombarded over the last 1 year, at least I can say since COVID. And we grew initially. I would say I would date back to February 2020. At that point in time, we were at 6 locations across Canada, and right now we are at 10 locations.
Wow.
Again, that contributed to our growth. And we are still growing. One of our newest customers who got approved this morning is Indigo and Chapters. So they would be our new customers as of today. So Rebecca's again going to expect some phone calls and emails from me looking for some supervisors to recruit. So Rebecca and Fanshawe College both have been amazing with providing us the A caliber students. And the best part is we don't go hunting for applicants with 20 years of experience. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere. We believe in recruiting students who have that zeal in them, who have that hunger to grow. And we absolutely value international education, international work experience, because, hey, listen, if anything, you've got the best of both the worlds, and you would be if I may say so, you would be having a lot more knowledge than somebody locally. Now, I have never worked back home. I only worked here. So if I have somebody who worked back home plus here in the same kind of industry, in my mind, I'm going to be like, well, I'm not going to get this job. He's going to get this job because he has better work experience than me. So never shy away from, your previous work experience, perhaps from a different company, a different country. It's always an asset. And I've been working as a recruitment manager with Precision Home and Office Deliveries. I was hired in November 2019 with them. And ever since then, my team has grown to 5 people now. I was initially hired as the only person in our team, and now I'm the manager of 4 others in my team, and we continue to grow. On my personal front, my background is from HR and employment law. Recently, I started my MBA, my executive MBA from Sanderman School of Business in Fredericton, specializing again in HR leadership. I'm glad to be a part of this program today. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I love the fact that you talk about students maybe not having all of those years of experience. When you're a student, obviously you don't have those years of experience that some employers may be looking for. So I'm happy that you said that part. And I'm going to pause for a second. I see that I am a little glitchy. So I'm going to log on my other device, which we always have a backup when it comes to technology. So I will be 1 second.
All right, Sudha. I know Rebecca is coming back. Just to fill in the time, I have one question coming up from an attendee. And again, we will be taking Q&A at the end as well, but just to make sure we utilize the time. The question is, hi, Sudha, I'm highly inspired by you, which I am as well. I want to connect and gain some more knowledge. Could I please know how can I reach out to you?
100%. Every single session I attend with Fanshawe College, I give out my LinkedIn invite, the QR code. I'm pretty sure Rebecca should have one. If she doesn't, I can share one with you, Saurabh. Sorry, Priyank, I don't know where, I think you're Saurabh or you're Priyank?
Priyank.
Priyank, okay, perfect. So I can share my invite with you and you can give it to all of the students. I'm okay with connecting with them separately as well.
Sounds good. All right, I don't have any question coming up from students, but I just wanted to ask, did you came to Canada as a student or you arrived as an immigrant? Oh, you came in as a student.
I came
if you wanted to share something about it.
Absolutely, I've got a lot of interesting stories. I'm from India. And then in 2014, I came as a student to Durham College, which is in Oshawa. That's where my journey began. I did my 2-year course in HR, and then I worked for 4 years. And I again went back to school last year. I did my employment law while working, because obviously you need to save up for your school. School is not cheap. So I did my employment law last year, and again I had to save up a little more. And now I'm doing my executive MBA, because executive MBA, the perks of doing executive MBA is you don't have to leave your full-time job. So Monday to Friday I do my job. Evenings and weekends I do my college. So yeah, I try to keep myself busy.
That's amazing. So if you don't mind me asking, where you are doing executive MBA from?
It's from Sanderman School of Business. It's with University of Fredericton in New Brunswick. It's a fully online MBA. Again, thanks to COVID, I don't have to go to Fredericton.
That's true. That's true. Some of the perks of COVID, I'd say. All right. I think there is Richard asking a question. Perhaps you would like to share. Have you felt being bombarded by messages and promotion in LinkedIn trying to sell you products or services? If so, how do you feel? Is it all right, or do you find it disturbing?
I'm touch wood, I don't get a lot of promotions. But I guess there's an option on LinkedIn to like limit yourself to what level of promotions you can receive. Again, that's on your settings section. So it's very easy to do if you want to receive promotions from first level connections, second level connections, and third level connections. You can limit access to such information. And it's obviously up to you to decide if you want to go ahead with this promotion or if you want to just, mute that notification for a certain time.
Sure. Darlene is here.
Hi. It looks like we're having a bit of difficulties. There must have been some miscommunication somewhere. Sudha, it's really nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you so much for joining us. I actually don't have the questions that Rebecca had for you. Priyank, thank you for,
yes.
So maybe what I'll do is I'll just ask you a couple of questions off the top of my head. And I don't know if these have been asked yet, but I do know that you do a lot of hiring of international students.
70%, if I may say so, 70%.
That's amazing. Could you share with our students why you hire that many international students? What is particular about them? What do they bring into the workplace that is different?
Absolutely. I'm going to start off with benefits first, the perks. So if anything, international students, they come with a different skill set in terms of their work experience, plus their education from back home. And they have another skill set from here. So they have, their contribution could be the best of both the worlds, and we can utilize both the skill set. That's one piece. And the second piece is they're very hardworking, multilingual. I love the multilingual aspect of it, because I speak 5 languages myself, and my boss is like, oh, that's so cool. I want to hire you because you speak 5 languages. So obviously not just the languages, but there's a lot of other factors. The piece of, you bringing best of both the worlds is very nice and unique. And there's some shortage here of, having work experience. Let's say I recruited one of my teammates last month. She was, she worked in Australia for 5 years, 2 years in the UK, 2 years in the US, and then now she's here. And she has so many amazing stories to share. Knowledge is never too much, I feel. It's good to have best of every little piece you have in your life, utilize it at the current job.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I agree with you. Our unilingualism is often a barrier for us. I know that I see that some of our other employers have joined us now, and Rebecca's back. We really apologize for all of the disturbances and problems going on this morning. I'm not sure what happened. I'm going to sign out, and I'm going to give this back to Rebecca, who's really good at this. Hi, John. Hi, Diana. Sudha, thanks again for pinch hitting with us.
Sudha rocks. Thank you, everybody. So, a lesson in life. I couldn't get on through my regular internet connection, so I had to figure out, I thought, how the heck am I going to get on? So I used my backup device. So I had a good life lesson today, and see, it's okay. We all go through this too. So I want to say thank you so much, especially for my amazing employers who are here with us. So without further ado, we're going to get started. So the way this will work today is I'm going to ask everybody to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about their companies and what sort of opportunities you may have. And then we'll move on to more of the specific questions. So instead of me just lobbing it out to the group and everybody awkwardly looking at each other, waiting for somebody to answer, I'm going to point by point go through each employer. That way you're not always the last one talking and trying to figure out things that somebody else hasn't already talked about. So without further ado, I know I had Sudha introduce herself, so maybe Sudha will have you do it quickly again for those of us, or for people that are just joining us at 11:30.
Absolutely. So I'm from ASL Distribution Services. We are a transportation and logistics-based company. I am their recruitment manager. We have a total of 10 locations across Canada, and we do a lot of warehouse hiring, a lot of operation manager positions, supervisor positions. And I'm going to go on record to say Rebecca has given us 6 amazing A-star, A-caliber supervisors last year. I expect some more this year. So we have this amazing partnership with Fanshawe College and Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudha. And just a reminder, what happens is we get employers that send us job postings, and Sudha is one of the supportive ones. So all of the students, you can always look at our job postings board, and that's where we put all of the new opportunities. So let's move on to John. John, would you mind telling everybody about yourself, please? You're on mute, John.
Sorry about that. Welcome, everyone. My name is John Barry. I'm the senior recruiter here at Blue Mountain Resort. We are a four-season resort, 2 hours north of Toronto. We hire from all type of hospitality positions, anywhere from your culinary, your housekeeping staff, public spaces, front desk agents, call center agents. Being Four Seasons, we do offer seasonal work as well in the wintertime. We are a ski resort in the summer, in the winter, and in the summer we have attractions for golf, zip lining, high ropes courses, low ropes courses. So we truly are the place to be. Our mountain will truly move you when you come here if you've not already come. And Fanshawe is a great partner of ours as well. We've been able to bring some great co-op students here over the last 3 to 4 years. So again, Rebecca, thank you for having me join the committee today. And I look forward to meeting lots of great students.
Awesome. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Yeah, Blue Mountain is definitely one of those premier resorts that I would absolutely love to get to sometime. So I'll be coming to see you soon, John.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. So next I'll introduce, or I'll let her introduce herself. Diana, please.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Diana McLean, and I work as an HR generalist with StarTech.com. I have a background in recruitment as well with StarTech.com, so can speak from both aspects of HR that way. But StarTech.com is an IT hardware company that's local to London, Ontario. We are headquartered in London, but we are actually a global organization, and what we do is design and sell a wide range of IT connectivity hardware. We have quite a large business in London, about 400 employees, and we have some employees globally as well. And we've partnered with Fanshawe quite a bit in the past for co-op students all throughout the year, and new grads every year as well. We've offered quite a few employment opportunities in many different areas. We have finance team, marketing team, we have tech support, IT, the list goes on. So Fanshawe has been a great partner of ours, and I'm looking forward to answering some questions.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everybody. I know that we were going to have Scotiabank joining us. I know that they were also having some connectivity issues. So if they end up joining us in a little bit, we'll let them on. But for right now, we will deal with our amazing employers that have come on board. So we'll start the questions now. So let's start with Diana. So Diana, how should prospective candidates present in an interview?
It's a great question, and I think it's really a really important one. The first thing that I would say is confidently. When you're talking about how to present in an interview, I don't think I can stress enough how important it is to have the confidence coming in terms of being able to speak about yourself, your past experience, the skills that you have, the relevant experience, skills, etc., that are going to apply to the role at hand. This is, I know, challenging. It's not always easy for everybody to naturally come in and talk about themselves and be confident, especially if you're nervous coming into a job interview. But I think it is something that can be practiced and learned and practiced ahead of time coming in. Second to that, I would say preparedness is something that is often overlooked by candidates coming into a job interview. And it really can't be stressed enough. And by that, I mean being prepared, understanding the role itself that you are applying to, current trends going on in the industry, coming in prepared with questions for the hiring team, demonstrating that you have that knowledge of the role, the team, the industry that you're applying into. All of those things, I think, go a really, really long way. And aside from that, I think there are also some really basic things in terms of etiquette that you can do when it comes to a job interview. Things like dressing professionally, following up with a thank you note afterwards, having those questions prepared, some of those basic things that it might sound like things that everyone does, but it's really not, and it can go a long way in helping you stand out compared to the rest of the candidates being interviewed.
Excellent. John, what would you like to add for that?
Sorry about that. Yeah, to what Diana had said as well, just to be prepared for the company that you are interviewing with. Know their location as we go through the idea and the new way of recruiting now via virtually. Know exactly where that employer is, the type of company that they are, and the offerings that they may have for you. The etiquette part, it's the same as being, again, we talk about being virtual. Think of that interview as still being in person. Nothing has changed in your preparedness for that interview. Dress professionally to the position that you are recruiting for or being hired for. It's important that we see the best of you, what you're able to present at the end of the day. And sell yourself. You know, we're here to ask questions, but be prepared to have some good questions and sell yourself and any of those transferable skills that you may have. If you're a skier and we're hiring for a winter position, say you're a skier and how much you love the outdoors. We may not ask you about the outdoors, but tell us that you know a little bit about our culture and our diversity that we have to offer, or what you're looking for in a position.
John, very good point in that, again, about the transferable skills, or just adding on those extra little things that will give you an advantage over somebody else, even if they haven't asked for that. So that's why we try to teach you to think like an employer. It'll give you a little bit more insight as to what the employers are looking for. So thank you for that, John. Sudha, what do you have to add?
Okay, you know what? John and Diana kind of read my mind. They've spoken everything, but there's one piece that we often shy away from talking about. And we as recruiters have experienced it. Body odors and scents is something we shy away from talking about. It's very important. It's a deal breaker. Obviously, I'm not going to expect all applicants to walk in with Versace perfume on. No, there are a lot of companies which are scent free and scent sensitive. We need to be mindful, look through the company details. Now, let's say I'm going to get interviewed under a healthcare company. Let's say I'm going in as a nurse. No, I'm not going to wear perfume if I'm going in, because a lot of healthcare companies have like a strict no scent policy. We need to be careful, look at what the company says. And again, smelling it doesn't mean having good perfume. Make sure you have a good, I don't like specifying such things, but some people forget. They go to their night shift, come in quickly, do their next interview, and they forget basic etiquettes and hygiene. This is something we need to remember before going into an interview. Thank you.
All very good points. And like Sudha had said, Canada is actually scent free. So I know that hygiene and things like that are different around the world. So when you get here to Canada, just be mindful of not wearing a lot of perfume or cologne, only because a lot of places are scent free. So that is one of the little differences between Canada and maybe the rest of the world. But for any of these employer or interview preparedness, please remember you can come back to Career Services. We have things in place. We can help you with that career preparation and the interview preparation. We also have something called Interview Stream. So it's actually a computer software that will pretend to interview you, and it's really eye-opening to watch yourself on camera. I know the first time I watched myself being interviewed on camera, I have wild hands. I didn't realize how much I talked with my hands, and it was rather distracting. So I still do that. So I have my little tips and tricks on how to make sure that happens. So thank you for that, everybody. I do notice that Chris is here. So Chris, can you hear me? Yeah, and you're on mute right now. Do you know how to unmute yourself, Chris?
Yeah, our headsets like to kick in and out. It's fun Scotia tech. There we go.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Chris. So we're just starting with the interview questions, which is awesome. So we're only going to pause now, and I would ask if you can just introduce yourself to the students, your name, where you work, and maybe some of the opportunities that they can keep in mind.
So I'm Chris Trenier. I'm the assistant manager at Scotiabank at the Huron-Highbury branch. Tons of opportunity within banking. We, in London, primarily only branches, but now with COVID and everything else, the opportunities are endless from whatever city you're in. Anything from CRs to financial planners, management, small business, you can get over to marketing, HR, project management teams. We're one of the larger companies in Canada. So to be perfectly honest, any type of job you can think of, we tend to have at some point somewhere in the country. Ideally, we like everyone to start in the branch somewhere. Everything funnels through the branch and then up into HR and our regional teams. So the more experience you have in the branch, the more you understand what we go through, in which case when you're creating products, marketing, systems, you understand what our needs are and you're able to better help us, which then better helps our clientele.
Perfect. And it's nice to know that you might have opportunities all across Canada, because some of our students are very portable. So they may have an idea of some part of other Canada that they want to live in. And it's good to know that there's employers that offer those varieties across Canada. So the only question that you've missed, Chris, and I will give you a chance to answer that now before we move on to the next one, is how should prospective candidates present in an interview?
So for us, it's two-stage. So your first one is you can dress as casual as you want. It's now done from home. Our HR team will reach out to you. So make sure in that one you are prepared to sell yourself. You need to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, what you can provide to the team, and why you want to get into finance in one way, shape, or form. The in-person interview, you definitely want to dress up. You don't need to be in a suit, but you do need to be well-dressed in business attire. Again, you need to be prepared to sell yourself. You need to know some of our products. We will always quiz you on the major products that we do have at Scotiabank. So we don't need you to know the ins and outs of everything, but you at least need to understand the bank accounts we sell, the rewards programs we have, and some of the other major distinguishing things that we have that the other banks do not. I always suggest having questions for us as well. It shows that not only have you done your research on the institution, you've taken the time to think about what you might bring to the team, questions you might have that will impact your decision as to whether you want to come here. And it shows that you're able to essentially think and research and do for yourself, which is huge in the finance world.
Excellent. Thank you for those suggestions. Because just like you heard all of the employers talking about being prepared, doing a little bit of research before you get there, knowing what they offer. And as Chris mentioned, having a couple of good questions at the end of the interview to show that you are interested. I know that when I've done interviews in my past when I was a recruiter, the worst thing you can say at the end of an interview when an employer says, "Do you have any questions for me?" When you say no, it's like having a conversation. It's like someone just hung up the phone on you. So make sure you have a couple of good questions to ask. And if you don't even know what that means, please reach out to Career Services. So question number 2, it's a two-parter. So let's start with John. So John, how important is a resume to an employer, and what is the value in seeing any Canadian work experience on a resume?
Yeah, so a resume is very important for all positions. It gives us a guidance of what you're all about. What have you done in the past? Your education, what you're studying, and kind of where you want to be moving forward, and what type of skills that you may have that might benefit us if we hire you, but also benefit you for coming here. So you want to be able to sell your best skills overall in that resume. The second part of the question, Canadian experience. Canadian experience is good to have, but most international students that are coming here are just getting their feet wet in the Canadian culture. So great if you got some. If not, we definitely want to see what you've done in your home country. any type of volunteering that you've done in your home country. Again, I mentioned transferable skills. Those are all types of transferable skills that you bring to your interview when you're presenting to any employer. So anything that you've done in the past, work-wise or education-wise, should be on there. So it gives you that, a quick view overall, an overview of yourself. And it also will probe the interviewer into maybe some more detailed questions. So you're preparing yourself for that next question. And when you are doing a resume, look at that job description on what the employers are looking for. Most companies will use an HRS system that will pick up some keywords if they're getting huge amount of resumes. That might get you to the top. So if you're just quick and just filling the application online and not putting any emphasis in it, you might be the best candidate for that role, but you're going to get overlooked. So very, very important to have keywords, some background information, Canadian experience, as well as your international experience.
Excellent. Thank you very much, John. Diana.
Sure, thank you. I mean, I can echo a lot of what John said. I had a lot of similar thoughts in terms of the importance of resumes coming in. Often for some jobs that are posted, we might have hundreds of applicants, and your resume is really the first opportunity that you have to wow a recruiter or a hiring manager. So it's easy to be overlooked, and I think really, really critical to, as John mentioned, understand the requirements of the role, understand the role in the job posting really, really well, and be able to really showcase how your past experience and skills will apply to the role at hand. We see a lot of generic resumes. Those are often overlooked. If it's not tailored to the role, you're really reducing your chances of being called up by that recruiter. So I think a strong and detailed and results-oriented resume is really, really important. To answer the second part of the question, I think it maybe is different at different employers. For us, for me personally, the Canadian work experience isn't critical, but showing your past experience is. So we've hired quite a number of folks, or at least a number of folks who haven't yet had Canadian work experience. We're new to Canada, but their past roles, the past skills that they've learned, their past education in their home country was exactly what we were looking for the role, and they were hired into the position. I also see a lot of candidates apply without including that on their resume. There might be a misconception that it's not important to include. And I've had a number of calls with candidates in the past who will tell me about positions that they've had, but I won't see it listed on their resume. And I always ask the question, why am I not seeing this on paper? And they say, well, it's not Canadian work experience. And I said, no, that's what we want to see. I want to know the experience that you have and what you can bring to the table. So I really, again, can't stress that enough. I think it's really, really important. And understanding how to craft your resume, making sure it's detailed, showing the transferable skills, as we mentioned, tailored to the job, and results oriented, showing what you have accomplished and the value that you can bring to the team.
Perfect. And that's a good thing to add too, is the accomplishments that somebody's done. Instead of just a laundry list of job duties, we try to encourage in our department for the students to look through the lens of the position that they're applying to. So instead of listing a laundry list of duties that you've done, maybe see the impact that they've made on the customers or the stakeholders or what have you instead. So thank you for those suggestions. Chris, would you like to elaborate on some of the answers that we've had for this question?
Hi, so I think they've pretty well gotten most of it. For us, a big thing is any work experience is good work experience. You would be shocked at how many Tim Hortons, Walmarts, Starbucks make it to the top of our list, because especially if you're applying as a CR, we need to know that you can deal with a lot at once, a lot of really grumpy people. For the most part, work is good, but we need to know you can handle stress. And jobs that you don't think apply to the bank actually do. If you can handle, say, Tim Hortons, you can handle anything we can throw at you. So if you have that experience elsewhere, if you have bank experience in a different country, your policies are different, but financial planning is always the same. So it's very important to make sure that we know everything you've done. For those of you without any work experience, volunteer experience also goes a long way. It shows not only you can be trusted, that you're getting out in the community, but it also does give you a network of people that we can reach out to, especially if it is Canadian, to see what you're like, how you perform, what type of person you are. So just making sure anything and everything without too much, if that makes sense, on a resume is very important. And for us, a cover letter. Our jobs, my branch alone, every job that goes up, we have over 250 applicants. So you need to make it stand out. So if you can give a quick, concise cover letter as to why you, what you've done, what you can do for us, it goes a long way. And of those 250, I bet you not even a dozen have a good cover letter that goes with them. Those usually go top of the pile because you make the reading easier for us. You show you care, you've done your research, and you know what you can bring to the table. And that's what we want to see.
Perfect. And I'm glad that you brought up the fact of sort of the fast food background as well, because we do find in this area, a lot of entry-level positions do start out in the fast food world. So if students, especially if they're not from Canada, understand that these kind of jobs do help in the next step towards their career development, then that also helps too, where you're not going to step into that amazing role probably right out of school, but there are other jobs that you can take in the meantime that can build up that networking, the transferable skills, all of things like that. Sudha, do you have anything to add to that? And then I do see Mike. So Mike, I will introduce you in just momentarily.
So John, Diane, and Chris have pretty much covered all pointers. I would like to, again, speak about a few topics which is related to the structure of the resume itself. A big no-no is not to include your passport number, your SIN number, your marital status, number of kids you have. We don't need all of those information on the resume, because I had one major reason is data theft. I had somebody reach out to me on LinkedIn for one of my job postings saying, hey, this is my SIN number and I'm legally eligible to work. When can I start? It was on a general comment section. Now, every one of us have heard of the CRA scams and the SIN number scams. It's a big no-no. So we don't need all of that information. We don't want to know which religion you belong to. We don't want to know how many kids you have. All we care about is your education, obviously, your work experience, and how well you fit into our company. And that's about it. We don't need any other confidential details. Thank you.
Very good point. Very good point. Because there are, unfortunately, some scams floating out there, and they do tend to pick on or target our lovely international students. So anytime something doesn't feel right when it comes to job searching and job offers and things like that, everyone in our department is always willing to take a quick look. So don't accept a position unless you feel really confident about it. And if you have a question as to whether it's legit or not, please reach out to us and we can get back to you immediately about that. So I just want to take
I remember Sushmi, one of our previous hires from Fanshawe College. She spoke highly about Rebecca. She said, well, she didn't know how to format her resume because she has a resume pertaining to her back home experience and back home format, but it's completely different from here. So go to Rebecca, don't be shy. She can help you tweak your resume. She's very sweet.
Thank you, Sudha. I appreciate that very much. I love that you're such a support. You always make me feel good. You're a good ego stroke there. So I just want to pause real quick and introduce Mike. So Mike, if you just want to say a few things and let our students know what company you come from, and then we'll get back into the interview questions.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little tardy. I thought Stephanie Ricci, one of our P&C directors from the Toronto office, was going to join, but she got tied up apparently. But I'm with Ellis Don. We're one of Canada's largest construction companies. We have offices in every major city across the country. I run a few different divisions for them. One, the major division being the equipment division, which we have four main silos of equipment management. Yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell what we do. We do approximately $5 billion worth of work, construction work throughout Canada every year. Nothing too big, nothing too small. We get into it all, and our equipment fleet right now is just over the 100 million mark in the equipment that we manage. Mainly our head office and and the main head office for the equipment division are both located out of London, Ontario. But like I said, our construction operations and the equipment division is from coast to coast. So that's who we are, and that's what we do.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So as the students can see, we did try to have different employers from different industries, a really good cross-section, because the cross-section of amazing employers that we have is the same kind of amazing cross-section that we have with our international students. So that's why we really strive to bring on employers that will A, hire our international students, but B, will have opportunities all over the place. So Mike, the way we're doing it is I'm just going through the interview questions, but I will address everyone in particular so you'll know when I'm asking you that question. It gets a little funny on Zoom sometimes when we're all trying to overtalk each other. So let's start with Chris for this question. So Chris, how important is it that students are aware of and discuss their strengths, skills, and experience?
So for us, that's very important. We need to know that you can self-analyze. We do need to know what your strengths and weaknesses are in general. Most of banking, you can't have prior experience, especially if you're coming out of school. At best, you've been a CR in your own country, but as a whole, it's not one many people come to with a lot of experience. So we need to know what you're good at, what you think your weaknesses are, and where you would like some help. If you're able to self-analyze, you tend to be a lot more successful in our industry because you can recognize when a problem's happening, let your manager know, we can coach you, get you the right people who can help you with what your needs are. But if you're not able to self-analyze, we then have to sit and watch you all the time and figure out what areas we need to work on. So somebody who is self-aware is a huge asset to us because it means you care about your performance. You're able to honestly say where you're good, where you're not, and that tends to carry on through your entire career. So for us, we love when you come to an interview and you're already able to say strengths and weaknesses, especially when they're things that most people don't want to admit that they have issues with.
Perfect. Really good answer there, Chris. Mike.
Yes.
So the question was, how important is it that students are aware of and discuss their strengths, their skills, and their experience?
Well, it's obviously very important. Where it's the entire process is very quick. Trying to relate to each other within an interview within an hour, half an hour, whatever the process may be. I mean, for us, it's the main thing for us is that we have a wide range at Ellis Don of different areas of expertise. You can go in from anything from accounting all the way to the in-field construction. So there's a wide range of skills that we may be looking at. So the main things are those soft skills, talking to people. We want to make sure over and above are those transferable skills that no matter what the day-to-day interaction you may be doing every day, you fit into the culture of Ellis Don. And our culture is something that we protect pretty diligently. Freedom, complete openness, obviously mutually respect and trust is something that a lot of the questions that you'd be getting from us, whether it's P&C or it's an area manager that you may be working directly for, are where the questions that we focus on are going to come from. So.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Mike. Sudha, why don't you join in on the question?
Absolutely. So I'm going to walk you guys through a very quick story that happened with me last week. So we recruiters, as soon as the telephone interview or the first interview was done, we send out something called as a personality assessment test. It's a automated test, obviously. It's sent to applicants to see what they're good at, what they're weak at, what needs coaching and whatnot. So we can better assess them and we can work with them when they start with us. One key important feature to remember is we shouldn't fake up or make up the answers on these tests. It's not like a deal breaker. What we want to know is how well you fit into the company. Because trust me, when you try to fake up the answers, we know that. So I've seen people having one of their friends do a test for them, having, like a family member do a test for them. It's a big no-no. Please do it. We want to see the real you. Don't fake up on these tests, because we just want to know genuinely what your weaknesses are, so we can work with them when you start. Thank you.
Yeah, that very good point, that you want to be true on these things, because a lot of times when employers are asking you to do these things, like Sudha mentioned, they're trying to support you. They're not trying to figure out where they cannot hire you for. So being your genuine self is the best way to do it, or being the best genuine version of yourself. Diana, do you have anything else to add for that question?
I would like to add just a couple things. It sounds like for us at startech.com, it might be a little bit different, where I would say about 90% of the time, at least, we're looking for very specific skills and experience that relate to the role. And it's not that often that we have purely entry-level roles where we're not looking for any related skills and experience. So my short answer is, I think the most important thing that you can do in your job search is have the ability to discuss your transferable skills and experience on paper and off paper. So going back to the resume, I know we spoke about that a bit, but it is so important. And as Rebecca mentioned earlier, I think a really good point and a good tip for job seekers is to think from the perspective of the employer. And a good thing I think to keep in mind is that recruiters are serving their clients, and their clients are the hiring managers. The hiring managers are going to look at a short list and assume the recruiter is putting forward the candidates that have those transferable skills and experience. So the recruiter is going to want to please the hiring manager as their client, because they're going to want to be performing in their role. And so they're not going to be moving forward the candidates that aren't showcasing those transferable skills and experience. And they're going to put forward candidates who can speak about that in their first interview. So I think it's really, really important in a nutshell.
That's a very good point. No, very good point. And John, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, the one piece I'd like to say, yeah, you should. One thing I should mention earlier about coming into a resume, you should. I'm an older type guy recruiter that believe that you should come in with at least a pen and paper, a notepad, to take notes from that interview. In saying that, if you're coming in prepared, it's a question that's been around a long time. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Be prepared with something that you know that the company again is tailored to in that job posting, but also not use words like hardworking. Everyone says I'm a hard worker. I generally say, okay, give me something better than that. And we all give something that you got to be prepared that the recruiter may come and say, oh, great. Well, tell me a little bit about that. Why does that make you make this as one of your strengths? We also word it as, instead of a weakness, as an area of improvement. What's an area of improvement? What may have happened in a previous job, or if you're a student, what in working in a group, what could it improve in that if they don't have a true work when that does come to top of mind? So again, be prepared and have at least 2 strengths and 2 weaknesses, because generally it's one question that is most likely 85% of the time going to come out, even just as a filler, just to get to know you.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I know that when we prep our students, we always make sure that they're aware of the tell me about your strengths and your weaknesses, because it is just as important to know what you're good at, just as it is to know where your area of improvement, as John said, is coming from. So definitely make sure that you're not struggling with a weakness that is going to impact the day-to-day of that actual position. So if you're not sure what to say for that question, obviously come back to us and we can help you figure out a truthful and good answer for that. So thank you, everybody. So the next question, let's start with Diana. So Diana, how valuable do you believe mentorship and volunteer experience are?
Especially for students, I think they are extremely valuable. When you are applying as a student for summer work or for work during your studies, or if you're applying for work as a new grad, employers will often expect candidates not to have a whole lot of work experience already, understanding that you're coming from school, but they will expect to see some extracurriculars, volunteer work, any type of past experience that could get you in the door. I think it really just comes down to sticking out from the bunch, understanding there's always going to be a lot of candidates, and anything you can do to break into the job market is beneficial. I think it's no surprise that it can be a very vicious cycle for joining the workforce. If you don't have experience and you can't get experience without having experience on your resume, it can be a really, really vicious cycle. So I think all of those things are really important.
And that is a good point. It's the whole catch-22. How do you get experience if no one's giving you a chance to get experience? And that just comes from knowing yourself, knowing where you're good at, and simply persevering and continuing to do it and keeping up that positive way of thinking, right? So sometimes I find in my job, I'm a cheerleader. I'm here to pick you up when you're crying, and I'm also here to give you a big fat virtual high five when you've done really well. So John, why don't we pick your brain about that question too? So how valuable do you believe mentorship and volunteer experience are?
I think it's very, very huge in our area here at the resort. We're dealing with hospitality, so obviously we want to make memories for our guests that come here on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week, whenever they come here. So if you have volunteer experience in a church or in a community service, you're showing that you're able to deal with people on a day-to-day basis, helping out on that picnic group for a large group on the weekend, or a volunteer at a community club. That shows leadership skills. It also shows that you're able to deal with people. And I believe it was Chris that said earlier, like the different jobs that people come on with. If you're dealing front facing with customers or guests as a volunteer or a mentor, that is critical in sharing that with the recruiter. We want to see that. Because it becomes a talking point to tell us about a little bit in the day of as a volunteer, because it might take us to a whole new area that we didn't see on that work experience that you brought to your resume.
Yeah, that's a great point, that it is sort of a springboard to other types of experiences and opportunities that you may have by simply volunteering your time. Thank you, John. Suda. There you are.
All right. So I will talk about volunteership. It's very, very important and close to me because I can relate to it, coming from an international background myself. When I completed my college in 2015, I was supposed to do a 2-month, before completing my college, I was supposed to do a 2-month internship, a part of my graduation process. After my 2-month was done, I volunteered to work another 5 months as a part-time employee, temp employee with my my internship company, because I wanted to get that resume on my I wanted to get that experience on my resume. And second reason is get some references, because any job you get into Canada, you need 2 manager experiences and 2 manager references and 1 colleague reference. So if you can club both of these pieces together, volunteership can definitely pay off, because you've got nothing to lose. You're learning more skills, getting into the Canadian job market, plus making connections and references.
Thank you for that point of view. Yeah, because you do have that international background lens to kind of think with. So Mike, how valuable do you believe that mentorship and volunteer experience is?
Yeah, I think both are equally important. I think from a volunteer perspective, not only is it an easy way to get out into the workforce and find out a little bit about what a potential career you may be jumping into would offer. I think it also allows the other way. You may want to go in a certain direction, get into a volunteer capacity, and realize that that's not for you. So it allows you to experience different things in different aspects. A little bit more about the jobs that you may be interested in. From a mentorship perspective, I think it's extremely valuable. Me myself, I've had to this day, I still have a mentor I think at any point within your career, mentors, being, are great to provide that support, that positive energy, that positive support in any which way you're going. Obviously, you forge that relationship at a deeper level with the mentor, and they are able to guide you throughout your entire career, not just at the beginning of it. And also on your resume and in any future jobs you may be looking at, are able to provide a little bit deeper dive for people to from a reference perspective to future employers. So I think both are great. From a volunteer perspective, obviously, you can get into you don't have to have a lot of experience in that specific field, and it offers that ability to gain a lot of experience, both soft and hard skills. So.
Yeah, and that was interesting. A good way of looking at the volunteer aspect is perhaps you find out that it's not what you thought it was going into, and you really haven't burnt any bridge that way because it was a volunteer experience, right? And then Chris, do you have anything to add for that question?
I think most of it's been summed up. We do really like mentorship at Scotiabank. We actually do have a program, post-COVID and pre-COVID, we actually had it with Fanshawe College, where students could pair up with different job levels throughout Scotiabank to kind of see what the role's like. You're able to come into the branch or the head offices, see the roles, see what they do, meet a lot of different people, which networking is huge in financial services. If people know who you are, what you bring to the table, your personality, it just opens up a whole lot of doors. And mentorship, once you're in, we keep that program going. We always suggest if you're an FA, you pair up with a senior FA, a manager, branch manager, district vice president. You just keep going up the chain as you go up the chain. Lets you not only learn their job role, see what your interests are, but it also shows them what your work ethic is and all the tangibles and intangibles that we don't get from a resume or even your manager. We get to see firsthand, gets your name out there. So we love mentorship. Volunteer experience is always great. We don't rely on that as much unless it's entry level, because any experience is good experience. Not only does it give us people we can contact, see what you like, it shows that you're willing to work, whether it's paid or not. It just shows that you want to get out there, you want to learn, you want to be a part of the community, and that's always a good thing to see on a resume or even while you're with the employer.
Great points for sure. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. I don't know if can you guys hear me? Can somebody nod if they can hear me?
You're cutting out a little.
Just a little bit. It sounds like
Yeah.
it might be a bit better now.
Is it better a little bit now?
We can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm on data, so I'm not quite sure what is going on here.
Rebecca, it might help if you turn off your video, maybe.
Okay. Does that sound a little bit better now? Perfect. Okay,
Yes, yeah.
Thanks, Priyank. He's my savior half the time when it comes to this stuff, so thanks, Priyank. So I'm going to just pick a few more questions because I know we are sort of winding down to our time. So I would like to ask, in this post-COVID reality, what is the best piece of advice that you can give a student when they're out looking for work? So since I completely skipped Mike on that last question because my computer was being weird, let's start with Mike.
Can you hear me? I think I'm having some of the same issues.
I can hear you.
Okay. From a COVID perspective, I guess it's changed obviously the way people work all over the world, let alone in each individual company. So I think just the ability to kind of work in a new reality and have that flexibility to kind of take on new challenges, new work, no matter where you may be doing it. In our field, we have both realities. We have people who can do their work from home and others who obviously have to perform in shops or in the field. So, you know, if you're in the field and you're in the field side of things, you have to obviously take all those different precautions and social distance and be able to change the way you work in the field. And from an office perspective, obviously you're doing a lot more from home. So it's just being the ability to be flexible and roll with how things will change, sometimes day to day.
Very, very good points. Sudha, what do you have to add for that?
And again, in terms of my experience, something that I've noticed myself in the last 1-2 years is some students just graduate and this is their first job. They don't really know how to get onto Zoom, how to get on Teams meetings, using the Slack Messenger, all of that fun stuff. So there's a lot of free resources available online, YouTube, LinkedIn, or even your college. They can coach you on how to set up an account on Zoom, how to have these professional conversations at work while working from home, how to look presentable on a Zoom video call, how to avoid technical difficulties, etc. So prepping ourselves ahead of time before your first job would be amazing, or even during your classes. I mean, let's say teachers are teaching classes over Zoom meetings itself. So getting a little tech savvy in terms of Zoom meetings or Teams is great, because a lot of international students, when I moved from India, I didn't know what Zoom was. I didn't know how to log into a Zoom meeting. And I took my teacher's advice, and that's how they taught me how to do this. There's no reason to be shy. It's a stepping stone for everybody. So let's not be shy and speak to our immediate support, maybe Rebecca or someone with whom you're comfortable at the school, so they can coach you and help you with getting set up.
Perfect. Excellent answers as always. Diana, what do you have to add?
Those are all really great points. And I think it's a really, really tough question because of COVID kind of changing the landscape in the job market. It's different now than it was 2 years ago, and it can be harder, even harder than it was to break into the job market because there are fewer jobs. So one thing I would say is take any opportunity that comes your way, because they are more scarce than they used to be. So taking any opportunity just to gain that experience, as we mentioned, could really, really help you in this kind of post-COVID reality, and being open-minded to opportunities that maybe are a little different than what you had in mind, but could at least get you a foot in the door. And beyond that, I would just say determination. Don't give up. I know it's really, really scary, especially right now, but we can see that employers are posting more jobs now than they were even 6 months ago, and it's going to continue picking up as we kind of get out of this. So I would say just be determined, don't give up. There will be a light at the end of the tunnel, even though things are really quite challenging right now.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that inspiration, because we have noticed that there's been an increased uptick in the amount of positions that are being posted even through Fanshawe College from employers outside of our area. So thank you for that, because we do have to keep that hope, and there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. I love that saying. Chris, what do you have to add to that?
The big thing is don't give up. COVID puts a lot of budgetary restraints on almost every company. We don't know where we're at with COVID, but economically, most companies are starting to open back up into full swings. So right now, Scotia, for example, we haven't been able to hire in the last year. If we lost 90% of our staff, we just worked with 10%. We're now starting to open up. So you might have to apply 1, 2, 3, 10 times to the same style position, but don't give up. The economy is starting to open back up. Businesses are starting to spend a lot more money on the hiring process, and you never know what jobs are going to open. 6 months ago, Scotia had zero desire to do anything tech-based, and all of a sudden everything is tech-based, and now we're talking about doing video meetings with the bulk of our customers. So new departments are going to open up, not only on the IT side to fix everything wrong with our computers, and for anyone who's been into Scotiabank, they're old. So we have lots of problems. We're going to have new departments that open up to create the programming for it, create the platforms for our advice opportunities. The jobs will be endless over the next few years. and we don't know when they're coming up until we know we have a need. So just keep applying, don't give up. Lots of things will start to open up in the future. And I can't remember who said it, but don't turn a job down. There's lots of skills, no matter where you are, that will transfer to other jobs, whether it's people facing. If you get into construction, it shows that you're very hardworking, and that can transfer into something that you didn't actually realize would move over. So
Yeah, and that was very helpful. And it's true that no matter what job someone takes, it's the work ethic that people are looking at. So even if it's not directly related to what you want to do, working your hardest for whatever you've taken on, whether it's a volunteer, a co-op, a placement, a full-time job, a part-time job, people will see your work ethic. And the harder you work, people will see that by just simply showing up every day and doing what you're there to do. And John, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I echo everyone's thoughts, Chris, as well. Resiliency. Again, taking a position on, I'll just share my own personal story. I took a part-time ticket taker position here 6 years ago at Blue Mountain just to get a free ski pass. But in the back of my mind, I wanted to get in here in HR as a recruiter. I got 20 years experience in the city, and that opened doors to get to know other people. So like Chris said, take a position, because what that is, I mean, Blue Mountain, we have close to 2,000 workers here in the wintertime during non-COVID. And then during the summer, we have about 1,500 workers in so many departments. So getting in and knowing those team players is important, because you're going to be meeting them around the resort or at any company. The other thing is, if you're going in for a small, let it be a volunteer position, a remote position, or a co-op position. It may not be the perfect job for you, but do it extremely well, because that opens other people's eyes in an organization that might catapult you into that next position, that dream job overall. Also know we're in a big country here. Some students are studying internationally still. Some are in Canada, but in a different province. Know, if you're worried about COVID, ask what your situation is in that community. A lot of people that might be in Nova Scotia that I speak to think Blue Mountain, they think Toronto and Ontario, a big 3,800 or 4,000, 5,000 number count of COVID. Blue Mountain up here, it's very small. I live in Collingwood, and up to 3 weeks ago, we were able to have 10 people sit at a table at Blue Mountain. In Collingwood, we were in a red zone. So know your areas in the area that you're going on, if it's that comfort level, and ask the companies, what have they done during COVID to adapt and make the companies as well resilient to survive as we reopen when we're ready to go. Because we've been all thrown 3 major hiccups in the last year. So we're all on this call. We're all resilient in what we do. And we ask the students to, be resilient and take those opportunities and help you catapult into that next opportunity.
Right. That's a very good point. And at least when employers start asking what people were doing to increase their skill set during this pandemic time, all of our students can say, I actually worked on my future, which is a really nice opportunity to kind of reset everything. Because even though things look a little bleak, not everything's bleak. Like Diana said, like they're increasing. Like Chris said, they have new things that weren't even a thing 6 months ago. We're not sure where this is going, but it's a really cool time in history for people to be able to pick up some new skills. And all of our students joining us on Zoom, I never knew what Zoom was last March. I'd never heard of the software. I now live on it. So it's really interesting to see what we are all learning, just, whether we want to learn it or whether we have to learn it. We've got some really new skills to bring to the table that I think a lot of employers are going to be looking for. So we are coming down to our end time. I have been taking a look at the chat box. There are some really general questions and some good specific questions. What I'm going to offer is for the employers to take one final chance to say whatever they would like to the students. And then I will say my parting thing before I turn it over to my amazing boss. So John, why don't we start with you? What are your parting wisdom thoughts for our students?
Well, we're first of all, I'd like to congratulate all the students for getting through this and get to where they are now. Let it you be in a first, second year, or graduating year. Again, be resilient. There's a lot of great advice on these calls. A lot of it, even though we're different sectors, the advice is all pretty much the same on how to prepare yourself, be ready, know the company, what they're looking for in that job description, and you may need to write up 4 different resumes to send out to 4 different postings that week. But if it gets you to the top of that pile, if a company requires that cover letter, like Chris definitely requires that, make sure you're getting that for that role, because that could be the differentiator. And good luck to all of you. There's a lot of great talent out there, and I hope you all land that position that you're looking for.
Thank you, John. Diana, what would you like to add?
Certainly. Well, first of all, thank you very much again for the opportunity to answer some questions and to speak to you guys. I think we covered a lot of really great stuff. I can't highlight, like I'd love to highlight even more, I guess, the idea of not being shy to include those roles on your resume that you think might not be applicable. I got my first job as a student with StarTech.com. The recruiter liked that I had worked in a factory for 3 summers. They said, this is a really hard worker, she can come in here. And that's how I got my first job, and I'm still with the company. So I think that is one of the most important things. Gain experience wherever you can. I know we mentioned this, take any opportunity that comes your way. And I would say keep networking a top priority all throughout your student career and as you start your job search, not just with recruiters out there, but other folks in your industry, those professionals in your field that you can connect with and learn more about how they started. Find people in similar situations to you, maybe like who are new to Canada and broke into the job market, and learn from them. I think a lot of folks will network only with recruiters and not other professionals or hiring managers. And I think that can really set you apart in your job search. So I'll finish on those 3 things.
Those are some very good and good points to keep in mind. Thank you, Diana. Chris, turn it over to you.
I'd like to thank everyone for the opportunity to talk to everyone. It's always great to reach out to some of our students and future employees. As John and Diana said, resiliency is key, especially in a COVID market. Again, we never know when jobs are going to open, how many are going to open. So it's going to be times where it's really frustrating and you don't think anything will come up. You just got to keep pushing through it and take any opportunity that you can get. My quick backstory is I was recruited from a golf course into banking. I got stuck carrying all the golf bags for a tournament, cooking the meal for the tournament, and beat the pro hole in 1 round. And one of the DVPs at Scotiabank said, "What are you doing?" And he just liked that I would jump into anything all the time just to help out because everyone called in sick. And 10 years later, I'm an assistant manager at the Huron and Highbury branch, and I have an English degree. So sometimes you do get out of your field. It is okay. You're going to find jobs that might not be in your field, and you just pivot. And education shows that you know how to work, that you're willing to do the work by yourself, and having jobs in different industries show the same thing, that you're not too good for a job, that you're willing to work, that you're willing to do your best. So always put your best foot forward, work as hard as you can, and make a good impression on anybody and everybody, because you don't know who you're going to be in front of for your next interview.
Yeah, very interesting story, Chris, and that is completely true. You just never know where that person, where your paths are going to cross again, right? Mike, whatever parting wisdom words you have today.
Yeah, I think it's already been said. I agree 100% with everybody with what they said. I have a similar story, so it's I think it's just, you know, in any opportunity, take any opportunity. Don't worry about what the role may be. Jump into anything you can. A lot of times, you know, where you start is not where you end up. You know, it's the relationships you make along the way, and those relationships open up other doors for you along the way. And that's, you know, I can speak from an Ellis Don perspective. A lot of times, you know, getting into different different fields of work, a lot of times it's just the person who's around, who is willing to put their hand up and take the challenge on and take the risk. So I think, no matter what the field of expertise you're training in or what you want to do, just take every opportunity to take any project or any job that is afforded you and see where it takes you. I think you'll be very surprised.
Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate that. And then Sudha, last but definitely not least.
Okay, so thank you very much for having me a part of this session today. My closing notes would be, I can see a lot of these messages on the chat box. Some of them, it's their first year in Canada. They don't know how to network. They don't know how to go ahead. Like, what am I going to do? What do I expect from my teammates, my workmates, my school? I totally understand. I've been there. I've done that. You need to stay strong, stay patient. And the first 2 years is going to be difficult. There might be language barriers. There might be cultural barriers. That's fine. Don't be shy. Speak to people from different cultures. Speak to all of your classmates. Don't be shy to speak to your teachers. You've got a problem, discuss with your, again, Rebecca, my favorite person, discuss it with her, and she can guide you to a direction. You're missing your family. There's a loss in your family. You have like a mental breakdown. I'm sure a lot of colleges offer assistance in terms of we call it employee assistance, but you call it student assistance. So there's tons of help offered by the college. You need to step out of your comfort zone, go speak with your employee, sorry, I keep saying employee services. It's your student services. And connect with the recruiters, whoever's on the panel today, connect with them on LinkedIn, see how things are going and build that network. Don't be shy if any of you need help with, in terms of formatting a resume or any cultural related questions, I can take it offline. Contact me on LinkedIn and I can help you guys with further questions. Stay strong. Canada is a lovely country. You guys will love it.
Thank you, Sudha.
Thank you.
My closing part of wisdom is, I'm here for you. We're here for you. And one thing that comes up a lot is, once a Falcon, always a Falcon. So even after you graduate, you can still contact us for further help. I moved out of the city after I graduated from Fanshawe. Once I came back 12 years later, I connected with Fanshawe again. And that was what inspired me to come full circle and have the honor of joining the department. So you just never know where you're going to go. And I had met my amazing now boss, but I met Darlene O'Neill as part of my job search strategies a bunch of years ago. And she offered me the opportunity to stay in touch. And that was one reason why I wanted to join this amazing team. So without further ado, I want to say thank you so much to our amazing employers. Students, I am on LinkedIn, so if you would like to connect with me and have further discussion or more questions, feel free to do that. And I would like to say thank you for letting me moderate this employer panel, and I will now hand it over to Darlene O'Neill to say a few closing words.
Thanks, Rebecca. You actually stole my story. I was going to tell the story about the information interview that I did with you many years ago. But lucky Fanshawe, lucky us to have Rebecca. She's just an outstanding career consultant. I was taking a couple of notes as our employers were giving their closing remarks, and I really loved some of the quotes, and I would like to just end on this. Somebody said, "You are our future employees." Don't forget that. You are the future employees. Think about putting on your LinkedIn profile what Christina shared with you this morning, the open for work icon that they have now that you can put on your profile picture. Somebody else said, always put your best foot forward. Make sure you do that. Somebody else talked about relationships, and relationships are going to be key. And don't be afraid, don't be shy, reach out for help. That's why we're doing this today, so you can meet us before you even start school. And we need you to know that we're there for you. Somebody else said, where you start is not where you'll end up. And that is so true about career development. Wherever you start in your job search and in your career is not where you're going to end up. There's going to be many opportunities and challenges along the way. And remember that there's lots of people to support you. Sudha talked about staying strong and the challenges and the scary things that might happen along the way and while you come to a new country. And it is a huge, huge step to come to a new country. And just for our employers, we have 35 different countries represented today on our call. So we have students from countries all around this globe, and we're so blessed. And finally, the last words that I will say is connect, 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 connect. That's been a message that we've been sending you throughout the past 2 days. Reach out for help. As Rebecca said, we're here for you. I'd like to thank our employers. It's always such a pleasure to hear what you have to say. Thank you for supporting Fanshawe. Thank you for supporting our students. And we look forward to connecting with you in the future. And so everybody, that is the end of Fanshawe Works for summer 21's term. And best of luck in all your studies. And thanks, employers. I'm sure they'll all be reaching out to you. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Just as a last note to 140 of you who are still attending this session, I wanted to mention a couple of notes for the next couple of days, which are going to be important before you start your new program. Tomorrow, we have a session on SIN number, which is required for you to work anywhere in Canada, which starts at 9 o'clock. You must have received an email to attend the session. So open that email and connect with us tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. And on Friday, we have a session on International Welcome Session, which is where you will get information about working, connecting with international services, also finding out your schedules or any and all the questions regarding health insurance, bus pass, and anything at all that you would need to kickstart your program or education journey at Fanshawe. And lastly, I wanted to mention again, thanks to all the employers and Darlene and the team of Career Services. We really feel glad to have partnered with this collaboration with these two department of Fanshawe. I'm from Fanshawe International and the Career Services, where we make this possible to create Fanshawe Works workshop for the student. And last is, you will receive an email with the recording, slides, and documents for these workshops, along with the survey that you can participate to win small prizes, as well as help us improve Fanshawe Works next time for the future students. So thank you very much for attending, and stay safe, stay healthy, stay Falcon awesome. See you next time.